remember how the Twin Towers were destroyed on 9/11.
It's five! The whole tower! Holy crap!
But there was a third huge skyscraper that collapsed that day. Unlike the Twin Towers, no plane hit Tower 7.
Keep your eye on that building, it'll be coming down soon.
What could cause a seemingly sound 47-story building to collapse?
In the building, I heard explosions. Outside of the building, I heard explosions.
The building began to shake, and it was as if you were in an earthquake.
Could one use a controlled demolition on any building? Sure. Did it happen to WTC 7 on 9/11? No, it did not.
But now, 7 years on, the official report has finally been released. Will it answer the many questions surrounding Tower 7's extraordinary collapse?
The reason for the collapse of World Trade Center 7 is no longer a mystery. World Trade Center 7 collapsed because of fires fueled by office furnishings. It did not collapse from explosives.
But that makes this the first and only skyscraper in the world to have collapsed because of fire.
Wake up! Don't be afraid! Wake up!
Critics say there are many unanswered questions and claim it's a cover-up.
We will not stop until we get a real investigation. The official report we've been given is unscientific and full of mistruths.
We talk to witnesses who have become central figures in the controversy.
It hurts when you're being accused of mass murder.
And look at new evidence to unravel the last great mystery of 9/11.
You really have to wonder how much of the truth we've been told.
In the American West, the internet phenomenon that is loose change has come to town.
Because this is no longer a fringe conspiracy. This is over half the American public that fully believe that the 9/11 Commission is a cover-up at the very least.
We just know that we've been lied to in a big way, and that's why we need a new investigation.
Loose change claims a government conspiracy was behind the events of 9/11 and the ensuing wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Its makers say more than 100 million people have seen the film, making it one of the most viewed internet movies ever. Now there's a new version for the big screen. Conspiracies have become big business.
Our entire foreign and domestic policy has been based upon the events of September 11th. It has enabled the passage of Patriot Act 1 and 2. Truth movement is heavily centered on Building 7. And for very good reason. A lot of people are very suspicious about what went down that day.
Hidden behind the Twin Towers stood 7 World Trade Center.
It was almost like the little sister of the two big towers, about half the size in height, and it struck me as a very modern, well-constructed office building.
It was a building that had a lot of security. There was always like police officers, undercover cops out front. It was very, very heavily guarded.
On the outside, an unremarkable building, but it had some unusual occupants. The Secret Service, the CIA, the Department of Defense, and the Office of Emergency Management, which would coordinate any response to a disaster or a terrorist attack.
You know, you have to look at what was inside Building 7. You had the largest CIA field office. You had a number of government agencies inside the building. So automatically, for a number of people, myself included, that is enough to at least raise an eyebrow.
Some say the government had to demolish Tower 7 because it's where plans were hatched for a massive conspiracy on 9/11.
Why Building 7? Let's ask the question again. As the WTC Command Center, was it the hub for the 9/11 plan?
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
Some think the attack on the Twin Towers was orchestrated by the Bush administration, and the hijacked aeroplanes were guided to their targets from Tower 7. Others believe the government also wanted to destroy key files held there about corporate fraud. After its collapse, A CIA team is reported to have scoured the rubble looking for secret documents.
The people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Our government will willingly kill its own citizens for whatever gain it seems necessary, and then lie as much as they need to cover it up.
It was the third tower to collapse that day, but its destruction was never mentioned in the 9/11 Commission report. And the first official inquiry into Tower 7 was unable to be definitive about what caused its collapse.
Regardless of what you think actually happened to the building, it does look like and it does resemble a controlled demolition. And I do believe, as far as I know, that's the first time it's happened in architectural history. A steel high-rise building has collapsed simply because of damage and fire.
Despite that, all the steel from the 47-story skyscraper was taken away to be melted down. Some made its way into this new US Navy vessel. But it turns out one section of steel was kept. How it got to be in its present state was described by the New York Times as perhaps the deepest mystery uncovered in the investigation.
There's parts where the entire half-inch of the beam is gone, entirely dissolved right through, and so something happened to cause the steel to really thin and in some places to disappear entirely.
Critics say if you look carefully at the events of that day, there's precious little evidence of damage or fire in Tower 7. But plenty of unexplained questions that suggest something far more sinister. Tuesday, 11th of September, 2001, started like any other working day in downtown New York. But as these pictures were being filmed that morning, something extraordinary was already underway. Early that morning, the fire alarm system for the entire Building 7 was placed on test because of routine maintenance. For the next 8 hours, any alarms received from the system are to be ignored.